We are back with another mental health podcast. It's the Boy in Blue mental health check-in, and this is for anybody that's suffering or any past experiences that you want to share with us on the podcast. It's a special one for the foreseeable as well, because we got Joanne joining us as well, who is a qualified counsellor in mental health. So how are we doing, Joanne?
Hi, Jay. Lovely to see you. Thank you for having me on.
Thanks for doing this with me, Joanne. It means the world to me. Like I really wanted to do this, and to have somebody on that knows more what they're talking about and can give the best professional advice is brilliant. And I can't thank you enough, honestly, for doing this.
Oh, you're very welcome. Thanks for the invite. It's good to see you.
So our topic today is about anxiety. But before we get into that, I mean, that's something that really relates to me. But just to give the viewers a bit of a background on yourself and stuff, what you do, and like any stats and figures that you cover in terms of like mental health. What's like one of the biggest topics that crops up when people come and see you basically for advice.
Absolutely, Jay. So I have clients come with all sorts of topics, because everybody's individual. So everybody's life experience and how they view the world is different. I make sure that I treat people that way. So there's no kind of blanket.
Yeah.
If 3 people come with anxiety, they're all treated very differently because their experiences of anxiety will be very different. But the topics, so the topics cover a vast. It can be addiction, low mood, depression, anxiety, loss and grief, everything that happens, in a mental health capacity.
Yeah, it's such a big topic, but it's like I never knew this till I saw a counsellor back in 2014, and just like how many different topics there are within mental health, like you say, like grief, anxiety, depression, addiction that can lead into all this as well, and the fact that a lot of them are like interlinked as well, aren't they? Which
it is. It's very much experience based, isn't it? And how we view the world, how our life experience affect things. So, and at times we all experience something that we might need support with.
Yeah, definitely. So what kind of got you into doing this then, Joanne? Like, how did you start getting into your counselling side of things and stuff? And
so I've always been in the caring profession. So I've worked, in old people's homes, at hospices. I've always done that. And then I became unwell physically. I had numerous sort of things happen, but mainly with a heart condition.
Yeah.
So what happened was, alongside that, I then developed anxiety. My life sort of really changed. I couldn't work. I couldn't drive. My world became smaller, and so in that, my own well-being and mental health was affected. So I went for counselling myself, and it literally changed my life. So I thought I want to learn more about this. I want to learn about how I can help people and just look at why. I didn't set out to be a counsellor. I was more interested in learning about how it worked.
Yeah.
And then just got so into it that continued my studies, and then ended up graduating and qualifying, and here I am in my own private practice.
Brilliant.
But I literally became a counsellor from having my own counselling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did it kind of open up like your eyes in terms of, like, obviously, like you said, that you went through stuff mentally from like your physical conditions that you had, like with your heart and stuff. So like when you went and studied and you was learning more about it, did that kind of open your eyes up more to, like, there's a lot more involved in like mental health in terms of the triggers and stuff, and what kind of things can lead up to?
And the triggers are different, as I say, for every single person. It's all about how the brain's developed, our life experiences, what's happened to us, how we view the world, our opinions. It's really complex, but every human has mental health. Often people think mental health is something that somebody else has, but we all have mental health, whether it's good or bad, but we all have it,
Yeah.
It's not something someone has, who's struggling.
Yeah, definitely. And like with anxiety as well, I mean, that was like a big one for me a few years back. When I went to see a counsellor, like, even though like I wasn't in the right frame of mind, but when they're actually talking to you and like they're giving you like all this information about it, I didn't actually know that anxiety is part of the fight and flight, and i.e. like back in the day when we were like hunting for food and stuff, like millions of years ago, it's part of that fight and flight. And it's like when they used to hunt for food, and like if they couldn't catch the prey, it was like a fear of like they had to run. And like obviously now that the human civilization is completely changed now, where we don't do that now. We buy our food from the supermarkets and stuff. So that anxiety, it's not being used, is it, for stuff? So like
that's
things
right.
are,
That's exactly it.
it's crazy, really, isn't it? Well, I didn't know that for a counsellor. Like it's, and I talk you through all this stuff.
That's it. It's absolutely. It's a normal response. It's our body's threat response.
Yeah.
So we have, our fight or flight response is our sympathetic nervous system. And we all need some element of that, because what happens is it's what keeps us safe. So if you're trying to cross the road and a car's coming, it's that gets us across the road really quick. That surge of adrenaline, that surge that puts us in our sympathetic nervous system. It gives us the ability to flee, keeps us safe.
So that's like good anxiety, isn't it? That's the anxiety what it's used for, isn't it? But like, we've also got the side where, like, obviously civilization's changed now, and like, things happen to us. Life's hard, isn't it? And things do happen, and like you say, like everybody's different. It affects everybody differently, and it's like mad, like how it really affected me on a night when I was going through like 7 hours per morning. It's mad that you're not using those to your advantage to flee, as you say, and just how quick it can creep up on you, but like without you realizing, because I didn't know that I was going through it at first, and then it kind of like linked into like the depression side of things, like I mentioned about it all being linked and stuff, and one kind of unfolding to the other one, can't it? And
absolutely. So what happens is we're in where the body and the brain likes to be, is in what we call our rest and digest phase. So it's when we're feeling calm and connected and everything's good, with some element of the fight or flight to keep us safe. But what can happen with experiences, stress is a big one. We've all got different triggers, but sustained stress levels, experiences, trauma, loss, grief, this can actually put us up into our fight or flight, our sympathetic nervous system, and we can stay there for quite a while. And that's where then the feelings come, which are anxiety or anger or frustration. It's all from the same stress responses, stress chemicals, which is like adrenaline and cortisol. They're what are released when we're in our sympathetic nervous system. So that's why we get those feelings. It's like a chain reaction. We have a trigger. The brain decides to release those chemicals, the stress chemicals, the adrenaline, the cortisol. It floods our body, floods our system, and then we get these feelings, which can be anger, rage, anxiety, all that sort of stuff. And then by the feelings that you're in your fight or flight response, that you're in your sympathetic nervous system.
There we go. Somebody knows what they're talking about. That was brilliant, Joanne. But when I went to see the counsellor, like, and I was obviously opening up and stuff, like she was telling me, I'm not sure if you use this terminology or not, but she was saying, like, we've got the mental health side of things. It's kind of like a dirty mind, because your mind is that clouded, you can't think straight. I mean, it got to the point where in 2014, I didn't even know who I was. Like, honestly, I lost my head. I was actually lost in my head. And to me, like, I ain't scared of anything now. Like, there's nothing more scary than being lost, being present, but just lost in your own head. And I was like, this ain't me. Like, I can't. Like, how do I get out of this? It was just unbearable. Like, and to speak to, I mean, I'm proud of myself that I plucked up the courage to go and speak to somebody. But like, when you're going through it and they're talking to you and they're saying like it's all part of that dirty mind, that fogged terminology, like, is that kind of the stuff that you kind of portray to clients that come and see you, Joanne?
Yeah, absolutely. I use sort of different words to that, but equally that's exactly what you're talking about. That is the fight or flight response or the freeze response. And because of this flood of the stress chemicals, the brain, we can have like a foggy mind. What you're talking about is like a disassociation.
Yeah.
When we're up there, the brain activities increase so much, and that you become kind of, it's feeling like out of control. It's like a feeling of feeling irrational. It's really hard. And again, it's a normal, I completely hate using the word normal, but it's a natural response. It's your body doing what it thinks it needs to keep you safe. But the feelings that come with that are quite horrific.
Yeah.
And you can sort of, what you're talking about, that sort of, losing your mind sort of thing, not knowing what's going on. Yeah.
Like at the time, I didn't know that it was that, and I've spoke about this like numerous times on these podcasts and stuff. I've always been an open book, and I've always said I don't care what people think of me. Like, I just want to try and help and do my bit. And if I can offer some sort of help doing this, just once a month, that's what it's all about. And I don't want people to feel and go through what I went through. Like, I wouldn't wish it on my own worst enemy, because it was horrible. But like, it was getting to the point where, like, I thought, with the anxiety before it led into depression, I get a lot of physical symptoms like with anxiety. Like, I get tremors, muscle spasms, insomnia, days without sleep, nauseous, feeling sick, losing my appetite. The list is endless. And I actually thought, like, I didn't know at the time that I was in that state of mind. I actually thought that I was like physically ill. So I was convinced, like, I was going to the doctor like for a good few weeks, going, like, there's something wrong with me. Like, you need to find out why I'm feeling like this. And like, you could tell, like, the way he was talking to me, like, you could tell that I'd completely lost the plot, and I was just pent up with just adrenaline, anxiety, and that kind of then went into like a bit of denial. Like, I was a couple of days after I'd seen the GP, I was like, there's nothing wrong with me. Like, I was that lost. I didn't know what was happening. I was like, well, I'm fine. It's just like I'm physically ill. And then I kind of like had a couple of days. I remember there just sitting on my bed, and I was just thinking, he's right, isn't he? So I went to a counsellor, like, and after that, then that's when it started to, not like a quick fix, but it was starting to get more easier to understand it and just accept it. Like, that was the hardest thing, like, accepting that I was going through that. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's the thing, Joe, as well. It's the unknown, because when it happens to us, we don't understand why it's happening or what's going on. So you just feel this certain way, and it's really, really intense. And you either think, there's something wrong with me, seriously wrong with me.
Yeah.
But physical symptoms is a natural response. You can have increased heart rate, your breath, your blood pressure can increase, feeling sick, faint, dizzy, everything you're talking about. People sometimes overeat or can't eat. Your sleep patterns all over the place, and it's all from these stress chemicals and stress hormones.
It's crazy. Like, like, I think about it, and your brain is that powerful, and it's amazing what your brain can actually do, isn't it? Like, it's so scary, really, isn't it? I mean, there's nothing now that scares me, like, apart from being in that state, because I'm here, I'm present, and like, psychologically, being lost in your own head, even though you're here, like, there's nothing scarier. Like, in my opinion, it's mad, isn't it? Like,
you feel completely out of control. don't you? You don't know what's going on, and it just feels you feel physically and emotionally unwell. And then the other phrase from that is when you mention that it seeps into depression. That's what can happen. So then the next, it's sort of like the dorsal vagal, we call it, in the nervous system, and that then leads on to, or the freeze response, some people call it, and that's then where you can experience low mood, irrational thoughts. That's the next stage up. So often when you've been in your fight or flight too long, then it, like you say, it continues then and can enter into depression, low mood, disassociation, irrational thoughts, all that sort of emotional things, and again physical.
Yeah.
What was it? What was it for you, Joe? What do you know? What your triggers were?
It was a multiple things. I think they traced it back because they ask you like a lot of questions, like a series of questions about your life and stuff. And I think subconsciously, like, I mean, I do this as part of I'm really close to my dad. You know, my dad, he was brilliant as a dad when I was a kid. You know, I mean, he still is now, but like when I was a kid, you know, we didn't have a lot in terms of like financially. Like, he didn't have to spend a lot of money on us. It was just his time. You know, he always took me to football, to Cubs, Scouts, Beavers, whatever. Like any school presentation, he was there. You know, we'd sit down and like build models, paint stuff. He'd take me to the park, play football, bike ride. You know, it was his time.
Comes in, Jay.
Like the Blues as well, like obviously, you know, and like they got divorced when I was 11, so like I did like really struggle with it. I was like emotionally upset. Like obviously, you know, it's not nice when you go through that, and it was one of those things where, like I remember at primary school where like it was getting a bit common with like other kids, and I was thinking like, you know, I can't see that happening to my parents. And then just one day out the blue, it just used to be like a ton of bricks. I couldn't believe it. You know, I couldn't deal with it. Like I got over it because the years have gone on. You know, I've got a lovely stepmom out of it. You know, she's brilliant. I've got a little sister as well. You know, I love them both to bits. So like, there's again something so traumatic in your life. There's always something positive that comes out of it. You know what I mean? And but at the time, you know, when you're going through it, it was really hard to take. So that was like the first step. But even though like as the years had gone on, I was completely fine. But subconsciously, when I was talking to the counsellor, like I wasn't. So that like kind of led then into the 2014 period where it started really, and I'd split up from my first proper girlfriend. I really took that hard, and then I went to work away in Germany, and my mum was really ill. Like, and she's always been on her own ever since. You know, she's not really interested in meeting anybody. You know, and fair play to her. You know, she's happy, but she got taken like really ill. Like, so like I'm stuck in Germany working away, and like she's in hospital like with her legs and stuff. She had like real bad varicose veins and stuff, and being operated on. And she's phoning me like upset and crying, and I wasn't there, and that made me feel awful as well. And then like just flying back, you know, to spend time with her, and it just kind of all like led into this big mess. And when I was talking to the counsellor, they ask you all these questions and they break it all down for you, like, but it started off like obviously from that traumatic time when I was a kid, like because having my dad there all the time doing all these things, and then having it taken away from having all that from like 7 days a week of his time to like just 2 days a week or a day and a half a week or like every other 2 weeks, you know, it was it's going to affect a kid, isn't it? Like, you know,
big changes, absolutely. But it isn't always big changes and big triggers, big events. Sometimes it is, but not always. Sometimes it can be. So if you imagine your body as a vessel, like a stress bucket, if you think of like a stress bucket, and then it just builds and builds and builds. So it could just be, I've had one bad day at work, or I can't find a parking space, and what happens is it just layers and layers and builds. And if we're not releasing any of that stress by doing nice things or having downtime or that, so it just builds and builds and builds, and then eventually affects, like I say, the nervous system and what happens to us, how we feel. So of course, big changes and big life events, of course, can affect our mental well-being. But also, like I say, it's important to remember that the smaller things, anything that the body or the mind feels it as a stress response, it builds. So it could just be that you've had a really bad week at work, but it's building, it's building, it's building. You know, people come into me and think, I'm okay, I just don't feel great physically, or I'm just really tired, but actually they're heading for burnout because of the stress levels.
Yeah.
So like I say, it's really, really important to remember the small things as well, the day-to-day stresses of life that actually build in our stress bucket and impact how we feel.
It's like now as well, though, isn't it? You know, it's tough now, isn't it? You know, we've got the cost of living crisis still. There's various wars going on that's affecting like the cost of living through like, all the deals abroad. We got, you know, all the fuel, gas and electric bills, the food, you know, like everything's gone up, hasn't it? And like people are obviously doing longer hours at work. They're not seeing the family as much. And that family time I mentioned, you know, like having that with my dad as a kid and stuff, you know, people are finding it hard to give that time to their family because of, you know, how tough it is. So that's like, I bet there's more stats that show like on your part, like having people coming in now, that there's probably more people coming to you with problems for help and stuff and guidance.
Yeah, it is, Joe. Massive amount of people. It's a lot of what we're talking about. It's constant pressure. We live in a society, unfortunately, that is that constant pressure. And people come in and think that they're ill, but it's burnout or it's overwhelm. It's the fact that they've been living in this stressful place, this sympathetic nervous system that I spoke about for so long. And just on a treadmill, and then eventually they come in and sit down and feel like something's wrong with them, but it's more, you know, stress, burnout, triggering anxiety, low mood. There's a lot of pressure on people at the moment. A lot of pressure from all angles, isn't there?
Yeah, definitely. We got some comments as well to read out, Joanne. So this is off Blue Shadow. She put evening, Jay and Joanne. Jerry's put hi, Jay and Joanne.
Hi, Jerry.
Stu's put good evening. I normally miss these as I'm out most Mondays snowboarding. This heat is doing me in.
I'm loving the heat.
Jerry's put, I've not had one for a while, but have panic attacks. I can control it now, but my brain tells me something different. Panic attacks are awful as well, aren't they?
Absolutely. That is part of what we spoke about, in being in your fight or flight. Jerry, there's something you can do when you feel that building is what's important to stop the brain releasing those chemicals that cause those panic attacks is to try and shut down your senses. So that can be something really small that you can do, but it can really help because you're desensitizing. So like even just closing your eyes, putting on some music, so you're taking yourself out of what's the being oversensitive, the sensory input. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So finding things that you enjoy basically as well, isn't it?
But in the moment, as it's building, as you're feeling it building up, absolutely close your eyes, put some music on, and bring yourself to your breath. Just concentrate slowly on your breath. And a trick to this is a real good trick for anxiety, panic attacks, stressors. When you breathe in, you're flooding everything with oxygen, obviously, but the out breath is really important because that and the release, it sends the signals to the brain, you know, that everything's relaxing, is kind of calming, so the stress chemicals reduce. So actually, if you breathe in, do a deep breath in, and perhaps you breathe in for 4, 5 count as you breathe in.
Yeah.
Breathing in for 4, 5, 6. Just make sure the out breath is longer. So whatever yours will be, Jerry, just take deep breaths in, count, then whatever number there is, make sure on the out breath you're counting out for longer. You're blowing as if you're blowing out a candle. Really empty those lungs.
Yeah.
In deep, out even longer. Does that make sense?
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, I mean that's what I do. I mean I do. You know, I'm not saying that like I'm completely cured. I mean I do have. It's rare now, but like I do have the occasional like where like I get a bit anxious about something, or
Yeah.
you know, I do that myself. You know, I count. I think, come on, I can get through this little spell, and it's like well, I'll count. And like you say, it's really important. And like I said, when I went to see a counsellor, they go over the breathing techniques and stuff, and it does really help. And
Breath
especially breathing out, like, big deep breath in, and then exhaling out. It does make you feel a lot more at ease a little bit, doesn't it?
Absolutely, because it changes like it's quite a bit of neuroscience, but what it does is change the brain chemistry. It reduces that fight or flight response by invoking that, so that calm in the breath work, deep in, deep, longer out. Doesn't matter what the number in is or the number out is, you just count to your rhythm, but just the key is making sure that the out breath is longer. And as I say, you can reduce the stimulation that the brain's getting by putting some soothing music on or closing your eyes. That will really help in the moment when you feel those panic attacks building.
See, there you go, Jerry. We've got Michael as well. Great to have Joanne on the channel, and Michael also sponsors me as well. That's his Flow Creations thing there on the screen. Bless him.
Brilliant. Hi, Michael.
Good to see you on, mate. Stu, how did you clear that mind, Jay? So yeah, it was a bit of counselling, and I think I told you this as well, Joanne, when me and Michael came to see you. Was the acupuncture side of things. That was brilliant. That was really good. That's another technique that really worked well for me. It probably sounds silly, but like for me, like I've done a lot of research because I was at the point where I wasn't like suicidal, but it was getting to that point, you know, because I was that lost in my head. I just remember like sitting on my bed at like the one night and I was crying my eyes out. I just couldn't like leave the room and stuff, you know, for weeks. I had my mum bringing me food in and she was already going through her own stuff, and I just felt like a burden as well. And I was like, you know, I'm supposed to be looking after my mum, and like, I'm just cooped up in this room. Like, what's the matter with me? And I was like, this ain't me. So I just remember just going on loads of forums at like 3 o'clock in the morning, just reading stuff, just reading how to get my head right. And I found that acupuncture, it's not like scientifically proven. It's a bit of a taboo subject because they can't like scientifically say yes it works. It's on personal preference, but for me it really like helped. And I just felt like the first session I went, because obviously they put like loads of needles in, and they can tell from your pressure points, like to do with like your heart rate if you're stressed. I had a racing heart, like I was obviously like full of adrenaline, obviously with the anxiety and stuff, because it was constant. Like the anxiety was constant. I was just on edge like for weeks and weeks on end. I just bags under my eyes, just weren't sleeping. So obviously, like when she felt my heart rate, she obviously knew that I was pent up with anxiety and you know, like a racing heart rate. So like they just find like the right treatment for you. And the same again, it's like going to a counsellor. They talk you through it, you know, what you've been through, and then they, off their own back and their own qualifications, to then determine what kind of treatment will work best for you. And they have all like these scented like candles and stuff, you know, there's music on, they dim the lights, and they put like these needles like in like certain pressure points. And like people watching probably think, well, needles, you know, that's doesn't sound very pleasant, but it's actually not that bad, because you got 7 layers of skin in it, and the needles only penetrate like the first like 2 or 3 layers of your skin. But yeah, like I just felt like the first session I had, I remember coming in there and I felt like, you know, like in the films where like somebody like dies and they have like the soul like release out the body, like I'm sure you've seen that film Ghost with Patrick Swayze, and he's in the hospital, that scene there. Like, and I remember like lying there and I just felt like this cloud of negativity like just lift out of me. I know it sounds silly, but like that's how I felt like. And I mean, even now, like I still have like acupuncture treatments, even though like I'm all right, because I like it. You know, it works for me. Well.
Yeah, it doesn't sound silly at all, Jay. Not at all. There's a lot of people that get a lot of benefit from acupuncture. Absolutely. And meditation, mindfulness. Yeah, there's so much out there. There's so many things. that help clear your mind. What I have to do for me, because obviously it's a hard job mentally for me, so I have to keep myself well as well, my mental health well. And what works for me hugely is being outdoors. So just being out in nature, just alone, walking, just being in the moment without any phones, anything like that, or any technology, just being. And those moments can literally clear your head.
Yeah, definitely. I completely agree with that. Like, just going for a walk as well, isn't it? Just to clear your thoughts, because it's giving you time as you walk into to think about these things, to let them go. Do you know what I mean? It's mad.
And the other thing I'd say to Stu is because of how our brain forms and our memories, if there's anything you enjoy doing as a child, so it doesn't matter how bizarre, sort of colouring, riding your bike, skipping, whatever it is that used to bring you joy as a child, do that now as an adult, because it will release those endorphins, create those memories again, and really help you to feel that your mind's clear and at peace during that time. So anything we call it a soother response, anything that actually helped you as a child that you loved. So it brings up that memory, that emotion, and that's really, really good for settling your mind and taking you away from everyday stressors.
I'm really glad you mentioned that point, Joanne, because my wife, she's another part of the reason to my recovery as well. She's been brilliant. She met me at my worst, and you can meet somebody that meets you at your worst and stays with you to try and get you through it. Like, I can't thank her enough. But like, she's having a bit of a tough time at work just because of she's had a promotion. She's over a lot of people now, so she's got people below her. She's trying to climb the ladder and try and have a successful career. But like, she's just brought like a load of colouring stuff, and she's honestly like, she's, even though like she has a hard day at work, like she's colouring and stuff on a night, and it just really like just takes it all away from her, like, and it just really helps her, and it, seeing her smile and stuff like she's doing it, and that, so she's just invested in a load of like colouring books and all these felts and stuff, and I had to build the she brought like a tray to hold all her felts and stuff in like all these colour coded like slots for her. But like, even now, like, she's probably downstairs now just colouring and stuff with the kids and that. But like, it's great that you mentioned.
Absolutely fantastic for mental health. Absolutely fantastic. Anything we used to do that brought us joy as a child, do as an adult. Because it's recorded there on the brain as a subconscious, and we're like, oh, I remember this. I love doing this. It's fantastic.
Yeah, definitely. We got Tony, hi Jay, Joanne, and everyone.
Hi Tony.
Jerry's put Birmingham Healthy Minds put me in touch with a lady called Claire Harper. Jerry, mine can just come out the blue for no reason. Jerry's also put, Joanne, I'm the eldest in 8, and I've lost 3 sisters and 1 brother in 10 years. And I think it should be me being the eldest. So my mind wonders.
Absolutely, Jerry. And grief and loss, we spoke about how we change through our nervous system. Grief and loss and grief is key for this. It automatically puts us up there. So it's so complex, but that will be a big trigger. This explains why you're in your fight or flight and have been for a long time, and you're struggling with your panic attacks. There's so much out there to help with this, Jerry. If you want to contact me, message me or email me outside of this, I can give you some details and where to go, what to do, and certainly how you can get help.
Brilliant. There you go, Jerry. Corey as well. Just put, how can I overcome social anxiety when I'm constantly tired?
Yeah, so Corey, that's again quite complex. We're talking about, I probably need a little bit more detail, but when you're tired, you don't want to go out, do you, and be, but what anxiety comes from when anxiety changes, what I'm going to say is when you're in that fight or flight response and you've changed, you've gone into your sympathetic nervous system, there often comes a crash. And that crash can make you feel really, really exhausted, really, really tired. So sometimes it's actually the anxiety that can cause the tiredness. It can be a symptom of it. How we treat that obviously is by what we call exposure therapy, or CBT, and it's exposing you to the very thing that's causing it in small stages, in small steps. So getting you used to going out at first, perhaps with someone you feel safe with, and just maybe going for an hour and then coming home, and then a later date doing it for longer periods or in a bigger crowd. It's kind of like slow exposure to it would really, really help. But I understand with the tiredness and the fatigue, it's hard to actually want to go out and socialise.
Yeah.
But even if you can, my advice would be even if you could just do it in short spells. So not necessarily go out and have a huge night out, but just go out perhaps for half an hour, just to start with. It's important to remember the small stages. But like I say, equally, the anxiety can make you feel constantly tired, constantly in that fight or flight. So, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I remember that point as well when I went to CBT and they were saying, the best thing you can do is go out and face it, to face what's making you feel that way. And like,
Absolutely.
you'd be surprised, Corey, how much it helps you, like, mentally, that even though you're probably not like enjoying it for the first couple of times that you're trying to face it, because it is hard, but it does get easier, 100%.
It's when things become familiar, you're right, Jay. So the more we avoid, the more that reinforces to the brain that this is a trigger, this is dangerous, this is threatening. So it avoids, so we're feeding into that. But by actually facing it, and then we know and learn that it's safe, the brain then, it becomes familiar, and the brain then knows it's safe, then it doesn't invoke the threat response. So eventually we're okay doing it. So you're right, not avoiding, actually doing, but equally in small steps. Don't push yourself too hard to start with, because that might be too overwhelming. So it's the graded response. It's slowly do it in short spells for a short time, and then build it.
There you go, Corey. Kev Whitehouse, hi Jay. Been fine till recently. I lost my mum in April last year, and since then everything doesn't seem to make sense. My head seems to be all over the place now. Do you think I should talk about it? Yeah, definitely. Well, you've already done the hardest thing. You're already speaking about it now.
Absolutely, Kev. It's so important. So important. When we suppress these feelings and we suppress these emotions, they eventually well up and come out. As I say, it's adding to the stress response. So it's really important. Find your person, find someone you feel safe with and comfortable with, or a friend, a relative, or if you don't feel comfortable in that way, then obviously go and speak to the professional. Counsellors can really help with this. Grief and loss is huge. It's probably the most thing that's going to impact us as human beings. Yeah, grief and loss is huge.
It's like that as well, isn't it, Joanne? Like, it might not. It's like Kev's just said there. Like, it might not have affected. I mean, obviously, like, he's going to get upset at the time, but like how he's feeling now, like, it probably didn't happen straight away. But it's like madness how it like creeps up on you subconsciously, and then like how he was saying, like, he just feels now, like, even though it was last year, like, he feels all over the place, and it's crept up on him, hasn't it?
That's absolutely it, Jay. That's it. And there's no right or wrong way. People think that grief, it's 2 years, I should be over it now. That's not how it works. No. There's sort of 5 stages of grief. Well, that's how they say. But the first one is what we call denial. That doesn't mean you're denying that person's passed away. what it means is that the body's responses to it are it's just happening. It's later it can catch up with us when we move out of that phase. So as I say, and those stages, it's not a linear process. We don't go through each stage and then we're cured. You know, it's backwards and forwards. We can think we're all right, and then it can hit us even harder. So grief and loss is really, really complex, and it's so important you get support with this, because it can be a long road.
Yeah, well, that's the song we sing at being a blues fan as well. It's
Absolutely.
a long road. It's something that, like, you'll never get over it, but it's something that you can live with, and it's something that you can find ways to make it feel less painful. Because, you know, you can talk about that person so they're forever, you know, in your thoughts. They're spoken about, they're not forgotten. You know, there's positive ways that you can make a terrible situation feel less painful, if that makes sense.
It is part of the healing. You know, the pain changes. It's really intense, but it changes and does, you know, it's different as you move forward. The pain becomes very different, but it's such early days, Kev, for you. Trust me, with the loss of your mum, you've had her obviously all your life, so it's not something you're gonna feel okay about in such a short space of time.
Yeah,
it's really, really, really early days in terms of loss and grief. So, Kev, I'd definitely recommend going to speak to someone. Again, you can email me at info@joanneprincecounselling.co.uk, and I can point you in the right direction.
There you go, Kev. We got. We'll read a few more comments out, John, and then we'll turn the phone lines on, and then we'll get some people to talk to us, if that's all right with you.
Absolutely.
Joanne, I use my art therapy. Tony's really talented, by the way. He tunes into the football stuff as well, but he also comes on the mental health stuff, and like what makes Tony feel at ease. Like, he does a lot of paintings and drawings. You know, he's really, really good with his artwork. So hopefully you can phone in, Tony, and speak to me and Joanne.
That's fantastic. The creative side of your brain is fabulous. It's a fabulous distraction. It really is. So anything creative, like we said, colouring, art, even writing, just journaling out how you feel, but make sure that you write and not type it, because it has a different impact on the brain chemistry. So just writing out, getting those feelings down on paper, and then just getting them out can be a really useful tool as well.
Brilliant. And I'm glad you mentioned the writing scenario, because the comment after this is Blue Shadow. Same again, I've met her at the Blues a few times as well. She's lovely. She comes on the mental health podcast as well, and she's really talented with the poetry. Like, she's always writing poems and stuff. Honestly, she's really talented. And she's put, "Hi Jay, I have written a poem. Literally took me 5 minutes to write. Maybe be all right to call in, mate." Yeah, definitely call in, and you can show Joanne you're talented.
I'd love to hear this. Yeah, I'd love to hear this. I've never been able to write poetry myself, so I admire anyone that can.
No, she's really good. She's really good. Stu, tell us more about the acupuncture and what it did for you, how it helped. It was just like the pressure points, like I mentioned before, like you know, and it just releases that negative energy. It's just something you need to do yourself, Stu, like to experience it yourself and make your mind up and have that thought processing if it'll work for you, because it's a bit of a taboo subject, because like I said, it's not scientifically proven that it does work. It's just on personal preference, isn't it, Joanne?
Yeah. But there's a lot of, but I think the evidence is there in terms of, I know what you're saying about the medical side of things, but equally acupuncture has been used for hundreds of thousands of years, you know, and there's a lot of help it can give, but it is finding what helps you. Like for me, I had acupuncture as well, but what helped me more than anything was the meditation, the calming the mind. You know, we all find there's so many things we can do, and so much that help that's available. But it's finding what you like, what helps soothe you, doing your soother response. But there's a lot, like I say, a lot of research around acupuncture.
Yeah, definitely.
It works on the meridians, doesn't it, of the body, and where they're planting the needles in certain places.
But I've always liked that kind of like ideology. I mean, like, I'm covered in tattoos. That's like orientally stuff. I love that. Like that.
Have you got to think about needles, Jay?
Yeah, literally.
I can help you with that.
Literally. But yeah, like I love that side of things. I love that oriental historic view and stuff. And how how the monks are like in the mountains and how they deal with stuff. Like you say about like the meditation side of things and how that can help your mind. Like, I love all that stuff. But yeah, Stu's, but I've got that used to being on the edge feeling. It feels normal now to a degree. I'm a fan of acupuncture. It's helped me in the past. Had some Mr. Miyagi dude.
From Karate Kids. Superb.
Mark's, but I'm just about to go into second part of therapy for bipolar disorder and depression and anxiety.
A BPD and depression and anxiety. Okay. Yeah. And that's really good. I was just going to say, it might be a longer process, stay with it, go on the journey, because you'll really, really get some support with that. And it can be very much interlinked. The BPP, depression, anxiety, it's all very much interlinked. So well done on going.
Yeah, definitely. But that just goes to show that, doesn't it? Like there's 3 different illnesses there, like and dealing with like 3 rather than 1. It's like you say, like are they all like interlink and stuff? And and fair play to you, Mark, that you're doing something to.
Absolutely, because therapy is not easy. People, there's such it can cause anxiety to go because you don't know what it's about, who you're seeing. You sat opposite a stranger and talking, and it's that fear of the unknown. It's really, really hard to take that first step and actually pursue counselling. It's huge. It's huge. But once you do, it becomes natural.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that as well, Joanne, because I remember like when I went to the counsellor, and it's like you say, you're on your own, and like you're talking to this person that you've never met before. They're asking questions about your life, and it's like, why am I telling this person like about things in my life? But at the same time, like you're thinking like I need help. Like I don't want to feel how I'm feeling, and it's same again. It's those mixed emotions, isn't it? But honestly, like if you do it, it's like the best thing you'll do. Like even now, talking about it, you're doing the right thing.
Absolutely, Mark. It's really brave, but it's absolutely the right thing. And I'm saying it not from being a counsellor, from having my own counselling. Like I say, it changed my life. But another thing that's really important just to note, just to say to everyone is, make sure it's the right person for you as well. Like interview the counsellor before you go, especially if you're paying privately, because what's so important is that you gel. That relationship with that therapist is what's so important, because that makes you feel comfortable and able to open up. If you're sat opposite someone you're not sure about, or you're not comfortable with, or you don't like, you're not going to get the best out of therapy. So always make sure it's the right person for you. Ask them questions before you book in, such as what their values are, what they can offer you, how they can help you. Finding the right person is key to good therapy.
There you go, Mark. I hope that helps you as well, mate.
Good luck, Mark.
Yeah, he's put the football is the only real thing I love that brings me out of all the stress and stuff. So like it's having that enjoyment, that hobby, isn't it? Again, it's like back to the poetry, the colouring stuff, just finding things that you enjoy to distract your mind from having those thoughts, to finding something that you enjoy.
Soothe your mind and escape, like you say, an escapism, distraction that takes you out of yourself, takes you out of your own head. That can make the difference in how you feel day to day.
100%. Stu's put, so any recommendations as to what to do when you feel very flat, when you do what you used to bring you so much joy?
Stu, it's really hard when you're feeling really flat. It's so hard to motivate yourself to do anything. I know, it really is. But it's key. If you can force yourself, if you can just motivate yourself somehow, just find that muster and do something that brings you pleasure. The more you do it, the more it'll help lift you and change that brain chemistry, change how you're feeling. It's really hard. I know when you feel flat, it's the last thing you want to do. But even if you just find that joy for 10 minutes and then you're flat again, and then you go and find the joy for 10 minutes the following day, and then it'll build. And eventually that will change how you feel, and you'll feel more motivated, more passionate. There's a bit of a saying, you know, we become what we do. And it is that the more we physically we do in terms of things that bring us joy, the more likely the brain chemistry is to change and we'll feel better. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely. Music Addict has put, grief changed me drastically as a youngster.
Like we've touched on it a few times. Maybe we could do that, Jai, do a podcast on grief and loss.
Yeah, we'll do that on the next topic next month. Then we'll do that. Then that'll be the topic. Then grief and stuff.
Yeah, because it's such a vast topic and affects people so profoundly.
Yeah.
It will, and especially like you say, like you've written in, you know, that it was when you were younger as well, so even more impactful. So we can explore that some more, perhaps on our next, like you say, on our next podcast. But again, if any of you viewers want to email me, I will get back to you. You know, I will respond. I can give you some techniques or offer some support, or even just point you in the right direction, where to go, what to do.
Thanks, Joanne. Thank you. There's also put, I struggle to stay in touch with friends and family. Disconnecting is the easy option, which is the hard part.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Again, it'll come from that grief and loss response.
Yeah.
Disconnecting. We're shutting the world out. We're pulling back. But actually, longer term, that's the last thing we need, because we need connection and we need support when we're going through this.
Yeah.
So it's hard. I'd try and speak to a professional if you can.
Mark's put, I tend to distance myself from family and friends and indoors most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
Need to try and go for a walk, Mark. Like Joanne said, you know, like just getting some fresh air, no phones, no technology, just taking it all in. Like it's massive. Like giving your mind just time to think things through, and you're getting your breathing right, and just walking around. It helps massively, doesn't it, Joanne?
Absolutely, it does. And people think, how is something as simple as going for a walk or reading a book or doing some colouring going to help when I feel as poorly as I do, or as mentally unwell as I do? But trust me, these things, they distract, they change the brain chemistry, they help. So in those moments, your brain's decompressing. It may be that you then go back to your situation, your environment, and you spike back up again, but that's okay. You've had some respite. And the more respite, the more of that we can increase. It naturally helps. It does really help. Because remember, all these feelings are the brain chemistry, the chemicals, the hormones. So when we're changing those chemicals and hormones, that can change how we feel. So what we do is so important. What stimulation we put in is so important.
There we go. Brilliant, Joanne. Grieve as much as you can. Don't hold it in. It destroys you. Yeah, it does.
Great advice.
Yeah. Because just getting it off your chest, isn't it, as well? It's like a similar situation to talking, isn't it? Like if you've got something on your mind, talk about it. Don't hold it in, because it'll be the best thing you'll ever do.
Absolutely. That suppression, this is what causes more and more an impact. Like we said earlier, it builds.
Yeah.
That suppression creates more of a mental health problem. more of mental health concerns, in releasing the emotion, we're processing it. It's vital, especially in terms of grief and loss. Yeah.
Lee Harvey's put my missus is not well at the minute. Her bipolar has come back. She thinks that people in the house few doors or slagging her off, talking about her mom, being in touch with mental health. Waste of time. Lee's a regular as well. He's on the footballing stuff, and he's also on the mental health as well. Lee's a lovely guy. Have you got any advice for Lee there?
Hi, Lee. I'm not sure what area you're in. Again, feel free to email me. I know it's hard with GPs or, like you say, the mental health system out there in terms of the NHS. They're at breaking point, and there's a long waiting list, so it's quite difficult. But it sounds like she'll need some support, perhaps from the crisis team. Just need to know what kind of level she's at, but always try the GP. I know it's really hard. I know that the services are stretched, but if you're not getting what you need, just keep going back to the GP. Yeah. Keep enforcing. It's really, really important. She may need, there might be medications, there might be but don't not be heard, would be my advice. Keep going back to the GP until you get heard and you get what you need.
Definitely. Cheers, Jerry. Thank you, mate. Means a lot, mate. Thank you. Football notice, but hi, guys. First time I've commented. Brilliant. I love this channel. I admire what you're doing to promote counselling. As a person who suffers from mental health all my life, what helped me was admitting it in 2017. And again, speaking about it's massive.
Absolutely. Isn't it, absolutely. I'm brave. Well done on speaking about it and admitting it. And like we touched on, Joe, when we've spoke between ourselves, it's about seems to be a block in terms of men and how they feel that they can talk about it. Men's mental health, I'm so passionate about, because a lot of you guys do struggle to talk about this, and it's so important. It makes such a difference.
Do you actually see that as well, Joanne?
Yeah. A lot of people, and I'm not generalising, because obviously men and women, but
yeah.
It's everybody's different, but we know factually that there's more men that commit suicide and take their life than women. And the reasons we feel that is because men find it difficult to talk, to accept that I might need help. It comes with a whole different view, doesn't it? So there's still a lot of stigma around men and mental health, and that's why I'm so passionate about it. And just encouraging anybody to talk, speak up. What you're doing, Jay, is absolutely fantastic. Absolutely fantastic.
You're part of the journey now. You're on it with me.
Whether you talk to a colleague, a friend, a family member, a stranger, a professional, ring the Samaritans. It doesn't matter where you go and talk, but that talking is key. Definitely.
100%. So we're gonna turn the phone lines on, guys. If you do want to call, you can speak to me and Joanne, and just have a chat with us. Anything you want to talk about you're going through at the minute, or any past experiences you want to share, like any inspiring stories, just give us a call. But how are you finding it so far, Joanne?
Good. It's just even if just one person starts to talk and gets the help that they need, like you say, it's making a difference. Jay, what you're doing is making a difference. It's so important. And around the football theme, I think is great,
Thank you. Who do you support, Joanne?
I couldn't possibly comment. You might know. Nobody will want to phone in and speak to me. No, there's no. Do you know what? I've been to the Blues. I've been to the Villa. I've been to the Albion.
Got a caller. Hello.
Hello, Jay. Stu.
How you doing, Stu? You all right, mate?
I'm very well. Yeah, not too bad. Hi, Joanne. You okay?
Hi, I'm well, thanks, Stu. How are you?
Yeah, well, yeah, not so bad, not so bad. You're not a Villa fan, are you, Joanne?
I'm not. Do you know, like I was saying, I've been to lots of clubs and watched lots of football, but I don't ever follow any. I know it's a bit of a cop-out, it's true. Unless it's England, I'm not really following football, so...
You're right, Stu.
Yeah. So I just thought I'd phone up, really, since nobody else did. And just have a bit of a chat, really. And
Brilliant, mate. How are you? How are you been like recently? Like, are you okay, or are you going through stuff? Or
well, we've spoke before, Joe, haven't we, about what I've been through. Over the past 5 years, really, it's been a roller coaster.
yeah,
From the start of 2020 when we went into COVID. My dad's diagnosed with cancer, losing him in the June of that year. Then my partner splitting up with me in the September of that year.
yeah,
And then the start of 21, finding out that she was trying to do a number on me. And then 2 years getting out of the relationship and getting the house sold, which I had to take to court twice. Putting up with all the narcissistic abuse and everything that I had to go through. Being secretly audio recorded.
yeah. I remember you saying that to me last time.
Yeah, and videos and stuff like that. Then moving back to Redditch and thinking it's all done, dealing with the aftermath of it and stuff, and seeking counsellors and trying to navigate my own way through stuff. And it just seems that every time I get a little bit better or I'm making headway, I get another kick in the stomach.
Yeah.
I mean, last August, my mum had 3 strokes in the space of a week. So actually seeing your mother having a stroke in front of you is
I can't imagine that, mate.
Quite traumatic and triggering and stuff. And then she fell over about the end of April and broke her arm as well. So I've been full on carer Stu for the past while. And you're thinking you're trying to get yourself sorted and you've got to be there for someone else again.
Yeah.
It's a lot of Joe.
So just a couple of questions for John, really. I mean, like, obviously I know there's no time frame as to like feeling better, and how you actually get there is individual to everyone. But like I say, like the things that I used to enjoy, I mean, like Big Toad, I'm a painter as well.
Yeah.
I do all right from it, but it helped me tremendously to get through the process that I went through. But now I'm just like, I really, really struggle to actually pick up a brush or even walk in my little studio. Those things used to bring me so much joy. Snowboarding, my God, that brings me so much joy. But again, I go and it feels as if sometimes I'm just going through the motions. I'm like, why am I doing this? Why am I here?
Have you got any advice for that, Joanne?
Keep doing it. I know that sounds really obvious, Stu, but keep doing it, because although you might not feel it's making a difference, it will be in terms of your mental health working, Yeah.
I mean, I know it does. I know the snowboarding does me good for when I go, and like going down to the football, and that does me good as well. I mean, I'm approaching a significant birthday in August.
What's your big birthday, Stu?
Big 50.
Yeah, it's great. I had mine last year.
So while I don't snowboard to the level of what I used to, I still think that I am half decent. But when I knocked myself out before Christmas, so I think I suffered with concussion. I didn't realise I'd knocked myself out to the degree I had until I put my helmet on the 1 week, and I realised I'd broken the back of the helmet. I had to get a new helmet. So should have gone and got checked out, but I didn't even realise it was that bad until, a month later, really. but yeah, it's just that feeling of flatness. I can't seem to. I just don't feel energized and stuff. I mean, I've read things about burnout and everything else and low mood.
Are you eating and stuff and sleeping okay and that's you, or are you struggling with those things as well? Or
they come and go, Joe. To be honest, sometimes I mean, my mum, like, she's nearly 80, bless her, and she's like, "Oh, you should eat, and I'm like, "Well, what's the point in eating if I'm not hungry?" Sometimes I get up and I'll eat. Sometimes I get up and I won't. Sometimes I'll have breakfast, but I won't have lunch. And then I'll have a decent evening meal.
Eating's really important now, mate, as well. Like having your meals at times, because that can help you mentally as well, can't it, Joanne? Breakfast's the most important meal of the day, isn't it?
That's absolutely right, Jay. You need to be consistent with your routines as well.
Yeah, I was going to say routine's important, isn't it?
Yeah, so try as you can. I know it's really, really hard, but try and have your breakfast. Even if you're not feeling hungry, just have something small to get your metabolism going and started. And then try and eat lunch and dinner at the same time. And
I have dinner at the same time. Lunch varies. I mean, my background is I worked at Birmingham Airport for 10 years.
Yeah.
So I was in at 5. I was actually like on the apron shipping out aircraft at 5 o'clock in the morning. So I was up at the middle of the night, 3:30, to be in work for 5. So eating at that time of day or morning, I just couldn't do then anyway.
Are you working at the moment, Stu?
I'm not, no. So I got made redundant from the airport at the start of 2020 when COVID struck and everything. And then going through the breakup, I was working part-time at a hospital in Solihull. But that didn't end very well. Basically, they tried to oust me out the door.
Okay.
Again, not really my fault, I don't think, but since what happened with her, I will not stand for crap. So I called them out for not giving me. I was only on bank, which was suiting me and them well. But when they stopped giving me shifts and then was just fobbing me off with BS, I just called them out for it. I knew that someone else was going in on the bank and doing shifts that I was asking for. So, I had a falling out with one of the deputy theatre manager.
Yeah.
For shaking down the corridor at me, and I turned around to her, walked up to her and said, "Listen, don't speak to me like that. If you want to speak to me, you ask me to come down to you and you tell me what's the matter. You don't shout it down the corridor so patients in recovery can heal and understand what's going on." That to me was triggering, and they knew about what I was going through and stuff. And then from then on, it was kind of like I didn't get any shifts, so I called them out for it.
You've been through a lot, Stu, by the sounds of things, and there's been a lot, hasn't there, situationally, that's not.
Go on.
Sorry, I'm just saying you've been through a lot, and that's not been, helpful. You've been through a lot of trauma. It's what we talk about as trauma and invoking a trauma response in your body. So it's so important, though, while you're not working. The reason I asked that question was because when we're at work, we've just got a routine.
Yeah.
But when we're not, we can end up feeling less motivated. We can going to bedtime can vary. So what really helps is trying to still get a routine. Whatever you do, however you feel your day, try and go to bed around the same time, get up around the same time, and eat your meals at regular times. Keep hydrated. I know these sound like basic things, but they have a massive impact on how our brain functions.
Massively.
On the whole, I think I'm doing really well, and I know I'm not working, but then I'm my mum's full-time carer. I mean, this week I took her to the doctor.
You are working. Sorry to interrupt you. So you are working, and being a carer is the hardest jobs in the world.
People don't see it as that. I mean, I get 80 whatever pound a week, and they ain't even paying me that at the moment because there's a dispute because I'm self-employed and I earn a bit of money from my art and that I do. So I'm waiting for them to clear that.
So you've got 2 jobs. So you said when I asked about you not working and you said not at the moment, you're actually doing 2 jobs. You're an artist and you're a full-time carer. They're huge.
Yeah.
So that's stressful.
It kind of comes back to, you know, her with the relationship. You know, she was like, well, you're doing what you enjoy. It's not work, is it? And, you know, it's just a side hustle. And you do it and it's easy. And I have said, you know, I have to work at it. You know, it's took me, since I started painting again, it's took me 15 years to get this good.
Yeah.
You know,
snowboarding. Do you feel a bit more inspired, a bit more motivated to kind of pick up your art some more and do it after talking to us? You know, the benefits of it, and even if you just do a couple of hours on a morning or something, just try, and it will help.
I have recently started painting again. I've done a couple of little ones, and then I'm working on some bigger ones. But it's a bit hard going at the moment. But like I say, for me, it's kind of like I'm trying to break associations, if you know what I mean, because my art helped me get through that period.
Yeah.
Then I used to paint to sort my head out about what was going on with her, and I used to paint as I was having to write letters to the solicitors to address all the things that she was throwing at me.
Yeah.
And it helped out there. But now, and in the past, it's been like whenever I've tried to paint, I'm like, all this stuff comes back to me, and I'm like, come on, clear your head. And I do go out for walks and round the lake and stuff like that. So
it's looking after yourself, Stuart, that in amongst the caring for everyone else and your mum and what you're doing, it's key to look after yourself. We're taught often that looking after self-care is selfish. It's the opposite, the absolute opposite. You have to look after yourself first, be the best version of you, and then you can help everyone else. Self-care is key to this.
And it's like that routine as well, isn't it, Joanne, about like when I mentioned about like being lost in your head and like your thoughts and that, you kind of lose that routine.
Absolutely.
You push it to one side, like I've been there.
I've lost. I feel as if I've lost all my discipline in that. I mean, you know, when I lost my job and the start of COVID, I mean, I was in the studio and I'd start painting at 7:00, 7:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
You know, and now getting out of bed at that time in the mornings is hard.
Yeah.
You know,
you need to try and get that routine back, Stu. That's the first.
I am trying.
Yeah.
I am trying, but yeah, it's just there's no pathway, mate. I mean, like, you know, I thought getting through what I went through was difficult enough, but like the dealing with the aftermath and your own head and sanity afterward is another battle, isn't it?
Yeah, but I mean, like, you know, like speaking about, you know, I've done the hardest thing, mate. You know, it's the hardest thing you can do, and you've already done it. So, like, my view on it is it's downhill from now for the better.
Yeah, definitely, like I feel as if I make progress, and then like I just get knocked back again, and it's just like my confidence is way low. I know that, and I just kind of, you know, withdraw from stuff, and and I'm just like a hardy, moody geezer.
You're not moody, mate. I've had a beer with you at the Blues, mate, and many more.
Yeah, mate,
many more to come as well.
Full of the joys of spring, man.
Even when they lose, Stu.
Really?
You're full of the joys of spring, even when they lose.
Yeah, really, yeah.
You had to calm me down the other week, didn't you, mate?
Yeah.
Do you remember?
Yes, I do.
Oh, mate. It's rare I get angry, but that one day I was with Stu, he was like, come on, Jay.
Yeah. Hey, think of this one out then, Jay. You know, the Blues waiting list for season tickets.
Yeah.
Right. So I applied for me, my sister and my niece. And my sister sent me a WhatsApp thing of a screenshot. And she said, oh, we haven't got it. Like, we've been denied. And I was like, oh, okay then. So after last night, this was like few weeks ago now when she done that. So after last night and finding out that the tickets were going on sale this morning for the Ipswich game, I thought, oh, well, just go on the website and check everything out and that. And my Blues emails go to my website email address. Don't know why, but it's one of those. So I went and logged on, checking through the emails. I got an email from Blues. You've been selected to have a season ticket, and I missed the window.
Oh man!
I know. But as I said to my sister, I said unless they was going to give us free season tickets, then I weren't going to go, because basically I've been selected, but my niece and my sister haven't. So it would have just.
It though, Stu. So you've obviously processed it.
Yeah. So I said to my sister this evening, I said, I love Mr. Wagner, but he can stick his season ticket when the sun don't shine. If he's not going to give us free, then I don't want one. But yeah. So just kind of got a few things off my chest, really. But like, I was interested in the acupuncture, mate, because I've had acupuncture before.
Brilliant, mate.
On my knees, and it really, really helped. And he was like, the guy didn't even speak English. We had a translator.
But that's the thing as well, though. It's not just for like mental illness. It's also for physical problems as well. But like, it was just so happened, like with me, like it fit hand in hand, because I like all that
holisticness.
Yeah. And the origins of like where it come from, and like the beliefs in it and stuff. I mean, like all my tattoos are all that kind of like orientally kind of stuff. You know, like I'm big on it. Like, and to actually experience it, like it was massive for me. But yeah, I highly recommend it. Like,
yeah. So yeah, that's about it, really. I mean, like, I haven't been to the doctor about this. I've sought my own help out, as and where I felt appropriate. So, like, thank you to you guys as well.
No, it's all right, mate. It's
for doing what you do, and Joanne for spending the time and whatever doing it. So it is appreciated.
Thanks, Stu, mate.
Lovely.
I hope the other people get something from it as well.
We're always here for you, mate. You know this.
Cheers, dude.
Always.
Look after yourself, Stu. Remember that self-care. Try and get into a routine.
Yeah, I do try. I do try and do a little bit of what I love, but with my mum and stuff, then it's it's not easy, is it?
It's not easy.
I'm sure under this video as well, Stu, I've got Joanne's details under the video. So if you do want to ask any advice for Joanne, just have a look at that, mate, as well.
Okay, will do. Thank you very much, Shay. All right.
Cheers, Stu.
Okay.
Cheers, man. I'll buy you a pint when I see you down the Blues.
Cheers, mate.
All right.
I'll get you two back.
I'll be on my back, mate. I don't know about anything else.
Mate.
Take care.
And you, mate. See you later.
Cheers. Bye.
Bye.
Could you hear Stu okay and everything?
I could. I'm sorry if at any point it sounds like I'm interrupting, because there's just a bit of there's a bit of feedback my end because I haven't got my earphones on. So sorry if I interrupt anyone.
Hello, mate. You all right?
All right, Jay. It's Kev. I chatted earlier.
How you doing, Kev? You all right, mate?
Yeah, not too bad. Thank you.
Good.
Hi,
you all right?
Can you hear Joanne okay?
Yeah. Am I okay calling you Joe or Joanna?
Absolutely. Joe's fine. Kev, everybody calls me Joe.
All right. Okay. Hi, Joe. Thank you so much for responding. I'll reply to my chat. First off, I'd like to say massive thank you to you, Jay, and all you do for Blues.
Thank you, mate.
The community and everybody. And I'd also like to say a big shout out to Big Tone and Blue Shadow, because they are absolute legends and have made me laugh so much.
Thank you, mate.
Over the past few weeks, months, etc. So yeah, can I direct this to you, Joe? As I said earlier, I lost my mum in April last year, and really seem to be struggling at the moment, and I don't seem to know why. because I've always been okay, and it just seems my head's a mess, and I just can't seem to concentrate on anything. I don't really want to go out anymore. I don't want to socialise, and I know you gave a very detailed response in why, and it's very early on, but I'm sure, as Stu mentioned earlier, that, you know, he's going through the same sort of thing, even though he hasn't lost his mum, but he's been a long-term carer, which I was too. And I don't really know where to go, because, as Stu said, he's not eating properly. I'm not eating properly. I'm drinking more than I should be drinking, and it just seems to be a never-ending pit.
It's like a vicious circle, isn't it?
It is, mate. It is. I work for a large automotive manufacturing industry within the UK. I'm not going to mention their name for various reasons. But yeah, a little bit of advice would be nice. If I could speak to you directly, Joe, that would be great, because I love the way you come across, the way you deal with people. Is that something that would be possible?
Absolutely. Kev, tell me a little bit about, so are you at work full time? Are you, what's your routines? What's your day-to-day life like? Have you got any support?
Apart from the team that look after, they are very supportive, massively supportive. But like a lot of people in this situation, you hide your feelings from people, don't you? So everything you say, everything's okay, everything's fine, and nobody really knows. It's only people like Jay that put these podcasts out that highlight the issues. So, yeah, even my family don't know how I'm feeling. You know, the family that I've got left, my dad's 88, which I'm looking after now, or trying to look after now. My sister lives in London, and that's all the family I've got. So it's, I don't really know where to turn, to be honest.
So other than this and Jay, Kev, there's nobody you're actually talking to in terms of on a day-to-day basis? No friends, no family, nothing like that? You haven't got any support for you?
I've got lots of friends and I've got family, but I don't want to burden them with what I feel is my issue.
And this is really, really common. And like I was saying, in how people, again, and men view, they don't want to feel like a burden. They're there for everybody else. You know, then you mask. You, like you say, you put on this mask that everything's okay until the point is where everyone can see that it's not okay.
It's not okay to not be okay, but I promise you now, Kev, it'll be the best thing you'll do, mate. It's really important, not just for yourself, but to put them in the picture as well, because, you know, it'll do you good to talk about it to somebody as well.
To be honest, Jay, I've never listened to one of these. Well, no, I have listened to a couple of these podcasts before. I listened to all of your Blues podcasts. Honestly, mate, absolutely. Subscribed, mate. Every single one, because they're brilliant. I love them. But these I don't generally listen to because I never thought I had an issue. But the more I've listened to them, I've realised I do have an issue. And it's affecting my work, it's affecting my lifestyle, and I don't like it, and I want it to stop. You know, I just want to get back to normal.
Okay, this is like a real process, and this is the grief and loss. This is what's going on for you. And the first step to this is to literally go and get some support. So again, you can contact me, you can speak to your GP, you can go and find other counsellors, whatever it is you need, but you just need some professional support to help you through the process. It's a lot to carry on your own, and trying to while you're masking and managing your life and doing everything else as normal, this is just pecking away in the background and building in the background.
Yeah.
Well, like I say, it's affecting my work at the moment, and even my manager's picked up on it and made comments. And like you say, Joe, I've tried and masked it and said no, everything's okay, it's all fine, but it's clearly not, and I can see that now. So yeah, I need to put on my big boy pants and do something about it, don't I?
But the best thing about it, though, as well, though, Kev, he's like how you're feeling now. He's like how I was like at the start. And like one of the best things I was ever told was you're not on your own. And that, like, I kind of thought about that. And I was like, well, what do you mean I'm not on my own? And she was like, well, other people are going through exactly or like similar things to how you're going through. And I felt so much better just hearing that, like alone. Before I had like other stuff. So like, you're not alone, mate. You know, but like you've got to you need to speak to like your friends and like your family members, because it puts them in the picture. You're not a burden, and they might have like some decent like topics to talk about, or like ideas that you know, like taking you out somewhere or just going for a nice walk. You know, let's go for a walk and you can tell me about like how you're feeling and stuff, and it's getting you out the house, it's sort of distracting you from those feelings, you know, and like how you've been feeling at work as well. You're kind of like breaking away from it, so don't ever feel like you're a burden, mate.
I can't help it, mate. It's just, I know everybody's got a lot to deal with, and I just feel like that will be something else they've got to deal with, and it shouldn't be something they need to deal with. But now, I'll tell you something, both of you, this has been an inspiration for me tonight, so thank you both.
No worries, mate. So, we do this every month, Kev, so this ain't going anywhere, mate.
No, so I know you do it every month because I subscribe to you, mate. I follow you, so I know they go on, but I haven't been watching them because I didn't think there was anything wrong. But yeah, there clearly is. So yeah.
Can I just ask a question? If somebody that you love was feeling how you're feeling and they weren't talking to you because they felt like a burden, what would you say to them?
Exactly what you've said to me.
There you go.
Absolutely. So these feelings, it's normal to feel that way. Let me just say that everything you're experiencing is normal, and you're certainly not alone. But equally, you would always be there for someone that you love. You would never say to them, well, you're a burden. So why would you think that you're a burden for them? They will want to know. They will want to support you. They will want to help.
Yeah, it ain't so much that as well, though, Kev. You know, like the community here, we're not here to judge. We're here to help. No. And the people that are on here as well, you know, it's brilliant. I'm not sure if you're on Facebook. We've got a Facebook group where you can talk to us on there, like anything you want to post, or like if you got any hobbies, like the Blues Brothers group. Me and Nick, you know, we post our videos on there. Blue Shadow Town, they upload the poetry, their art. It's just a really good group. So, like, if it's things that you want to talk about or things you want to share or any hobbies that you like doing, and you know, it's a great community, mate.
Unfortunately, Jay, I stopped Facebook in 2016, and it just got a bit toxic, so I stopped it. Even though Twitter seems to be more so, but I get good. There's good banter between the Blues fans on Twitter. Yeah. But yeah, maybe I'll go back onto Facebook. I don't know. But yeah, the only hobbies I have is looking after Willow, which is my mum's dog. So, and now my little baby. So she's my hobby. So yeah, that's it.
No, but don't ever feel like a burden now, Kev. Please.
I can't help it, mate, but you know what it's like.
I know.
You know, I'm old school. I'm 57 years old. So I'm an old school mentality, and we do feel like a burden. But yeah, I've got to get over that.
We got Joanne's details under the video as well, mate. So if you do want to reach out to Joanne and stuff, you know, you're more than welcome to.
Absolutely.
I certainly will do, Joe, if that's okay.
Absolutely, that's fine. But always remember what I've said about what you'd say to somebody you love if they were hiding from you how they were really feeling.
It's easy to say that to somebody and impart that onto somebody and imply it to yourself, isn't it?
It It absolutely is. It's easier said than done, absolutely.
Cheers.
But no, what you're experiencing is you've been through a lot and it's normal. And I can, as I say, if you want to get in touch, I can give you numbers, we can help you support, but try and do something for you. It will make such a difference.
Definitely.
I'll tell you something, just having this conversation has been a massive help. So thank you both. And Jay, Joe, I won't take up any more of your time. I'll let somebody else call in. So thank you both. It's been brilliant. Thank you.
No worries, Kev. We're always here for you, mate.
Thanks for listening. Kev, look after yourself. I'll speak to you again.
Jay.
And you, Kev.
Keep right on, mate.
Keep right on, mate. It's a long, long road.
FEA.
Keep right on. Yeah, an FEA.
Cheers.
Cheers, mate.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.
Are you okay for time, Joanne?
Yeah. Got a few minutes. Absolutely. Yeah.
We've got another one. Hello.
You all right, Jay?
How you doing, Blue Shadow? You all right?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. I'm good.
Good. I was singing your praises to Joanne about your poetry.
Hi, Blue Shadow. I'm looking forward to hearing you.
Yeah. I will pre-warn you. It's pretty long for 5 minutes. I tell you that. But I'm just hoping it kind of connects with everyone. So yeah, what I'm going to do, mate, I'm going to read it out, and then we'll just go from there if it's all right.
Yeah, no problem at all.
Okay, so it goes. Find the missing pieces, the parts that aren't seen. For each corner on the edge is another nightmare that's mean. With my head on the pillows, I suffocate as I sleep. For what I've seen through my closed eyes is what's been chasing me. It's a darkness full of memories, moments that time forgot. It's a place between reality, it's the devil's hot spot. And it takes away the silences, but still I feel all of those screams. Because it's the monster in the mirror, and it's all those ghosts that keep haunting me. It's just tiring for my soul as my body lays heavily. It's the scars that keep on seeping. These are my wounds that others don't see. And so I know I'm in a battle where sometimes I never win, because my mental health has hit rock bottom too many times. I just wanted to give in. I just can't keep on writing or emotionally speak clearly when my throat just wants to close up to stop the verses from hitting deep. It's my anxiety, my depression, the constant sweats and vomiting. It's not wanting to leave the house because I'm scared of what people see. A young lady that's just broken, that has so many insecurities. Maybe if I wasn't here, then these thoughts wouldn't be eating me, because my head is actually a prison, and it's where I feel so lost and so alone. Drowning within the sorrows, I'd pop pills till I pass out. Therefore, these palpitations that pull at my broken heart, it just rings back to when I lost my mum, when she died in my arms. I'm just scarred by what had happened, hearing the death rattle and her last breath. It's knowing I said goodbye as her heart stopped beating. I knew that was it. And it's coming up to 4 years, and I'm still angry and just so vexed that my mum, she had cancer, a word that I'll never forget. But although I'm known as Blue Shadow, my poetry is the only way I stay blessed. To unravel and stamp out the pain, I pick out the pieces that no longer fit. And I don't just speak to my darkness, I look at ways I can connect. Lyrically, I am a fighter, but me, myself, and I is the triple threat. And yes, I don't deal with it. I lock it away in a chest, throw it away behind the locked doors and the wall that's cemented. So entwined in the words, I've said what I can. Abuse of my grief is a long road in itself. And so a big thank you to a Blue Nose who podcast I had found. He wears his heart on his sleeve. It's our friend Jay, the boy in blue who turns your frown upside down.
Thank you.
And he's a saviour without realising it. And what he does is so kind. 5 minutes it took to write this, and your support is greatly profound. So although it's been long, it's a journey in itself. It's the face behind the mask, and we keep right on to the end of the road.
Brilliant.
Oh, wow.
Oh, she's good, isn't she?
Wow. You said she was good, Jay. That's absolutely outstanding.
She's very talented. Tell Joanne about like your name and stuff. Blue Shadow. Do you remember when Tom Ross and I was asking about it, wasn't I, when you first called him, when I was telling you for weeks to call him? Do you remember?
Yeah, I had it weeks. There was like, who's this Blue Shadow? Like, and I I rang and then I put the phone down because I was just so scared of talking. And then there was like, whoever it was, ring back. I was like, just go for it. And yeah, since then, since the first mental health show that I rang in, like, they haven't really been able to shut me up. I've found a voice, and then, they gave me a platform, and then they were like, we're doing the Blues Brothers Facebook page. We want you to become moderator. And I was like, yeah, probably not for me. And it kind of was like, I was like, give me time, let me get my head around it. And like, I moderate the Facebook page, I'm moderator on the, the podcast and all that. I think it's like it's lifted me in ways that I never thought was possible. But like I say, Blue Shadow, like, a lot of people thought I was a guy, and I was like, no, I'm a young lady. Where does like guy fit into that? Like, it's one of them. But Blue Shadow, obviously, big Birmingham City supporter, and Shadow, I've always found, and I said to Tom Ross, I've always found that I've never quite fitted into like friendship groups or, just meeting new people. I'm always the odd one out because I'm so silent, you know what I mean? I'm like the silent killer that don't speak, but the only way I can speak is through my verses. And yeah, so I think, yeah, like I am talented, and I can just write something in seconds, and like,
yeah, she's very talented.
What a gift.
I know.
An absolute gift. That you should put them all in a book. You should write a book.
Yeah.
Honestly,
I did. Yeah, I literally got told that, like, you're just so good at what you do, and it's like, people say to me, there's like, how do you do it? And I was like, you've got to understand, when it comes to poetry, you can just write anything. It don't have to make sense. And a lot of people go, but you rhyme it. And I go, sometimes I do. Sometimes I rhyme it. Sometimes I don't. I like to mix it up a bit. And people go, that don't make sense. But to me, it does at the time of writing, you know what I mean? And, whether you're a painter, you go for walks or something, if you can add that into your, daily life of, like, I don't really want to be in the house 24/7. What can I do? You just need the outlet. And, like, I mean, I've been through so much in my life, like abuse, physically, sexually and all that. And it's hit me hard where, like, in the past, I wanted to commit suicide. I didn't want to live. I had enough. When my mum was alive, I wrote her a suicide note, you know what I mean? And what I done was I posted it. And I posted one to my friend, and I posted one to my mum. And my friend got in touch with my mum and said, have you received a letter? And she said, no. She said, the postman's just been. And yeah, lying on the mat was the letter that I wrote, that saying I wanted to end my life. I had enough of it. And I got the biggest telling off of my life. And she was like, what, like, where are you at? You don't want to go down that road. But when you're sort of like in that moment, and you can't like find a way out, sort of like walking off the cliff, is the only way mentally that seems right at the time. And then, like I say, I've been through grief. I lost my mum. She died in my arms from cancer. That ripped me apart. Like, and I'm still dealing with it now. You know what I mean? There's certain bits I just still can't deal with.
You got any advice for that, Joanne?
It's you've been through such a lot, but actually your creativity, that's where your healing's happening, from what I'm hearing. You're bringing out what's in your mind, all your thoughts, and putting them down and using it in your art, aren't you? So I'd like you continue to do that, honestly. Just continue to getting it out, even if you don't share it with anybody, because that's your outlet, that's your therapy right there. And you're so talented, it's so amazing. It's definitely worth keep doing more of that,
Yeah. I feel I mean, like I say, grief is hard, you know what I mean? And I lost my mum in 2021. I lost my uncle in 2022. I lost my auntie in 2023, and I've just recently lost my stepbrother in 2024. And it's kind of like, and it's all from different types of cancer. And you know, like cancer, they say cancer lives in everyone until it's, you know, whether it reveals itself kind of thing, and it's a word I can't deal with, you know what I mean? And it's like people say to me, you know, like, oh, you know, bring a bit of laughter into it, you know, and I think you can't. Yes, okay, it may help people that's going through it, oh, let's all have a good laugh at it, but if it's something that a person can't deal with, it's one of them. It's like, you know, is it really laughable? I suppose, you know, if it helps people, yeah. But in another sense, for me, it's one of them. It's kind of like I just hate speaking about it.
Have you got any support? Have you seen your GP? Is there anything other than this platform? Have you seen your GP or had any therapy?
So when I lost my mum, I was drinking heavily every single day, and I just like bottles of Sambuca straight, vodka straight. You know, I'd literally pass out, throw up. I went to the doctors. He put me on pills because I had insomnia, and I still got insomnia to this day. You know what I mean? And it's one of them. I'm still learning to, like, you know, try and actually learn what sleep is. And like I say, he put me on sleeping tablets and depression tablets, and nothing was working. It was just like I just couldn't switch off. It was constant. It was like, you know, I was having sort of visions of my mum right in front of me, like she was sitting in front of me, but she wasn't at the same time. So yeah, that took its toll. And like I say, it could be songs on the radio, you know what I mean? And it's mad because, like, my mum she lost a leg, I think it might have been like 2005, to a blood clot. And she'd have like this red scooter, and like as soon as I see a scooter, it doesn't matter if it was a bloke on it, I'd follow it up and down the road. I'd be like, what? You was over here a minute ago, you know, why are you over there? And it's mad how grief just takes its toll, and it's like, you know, like, how can you walk up to someone and go, hi mum, like, where you been? And it's a bloody, you know, it's a guy on there, and he looks at you like you've lost the plot. And so many times I've had to explain, you know, I've lost my mum, and it's like, well, that ain't my problem, you know. And it's you know, it's one of them. I don't know, it's like mental health, it literally splits you in half, and that bit that fulfills you, you know, like I always say, close to your heart there's like a space, and it's where you hold your memories and your moments. And as soon as someone that, you know, that's been with you all your life, that part of you has gone and it's empty and it's raw, it's so hard to deal with. But like I say, I got in touch with a counsellor, and I was like, oh, can I see you like face to face? And it was like, oh no, due to COVID, you know, we were not seeing anyone. And I think I had like 6 sessions over the phone. And then by the 6th session, she was like, oh, you know, has it helped? And I was like, yeah, it's helped, yeah, it's fine. And every time I got off the phone, I was like, what the fuck? You know, like it made sense on the phone, but when I got off, the problem was still there. Not problem, wrong word, but, you know, the feeling was still there. So, like I say, I don't tend to talk about it. I tend to just, like I say, I write poetry, and sometimes I just, you know, I'll go outside, I've wrote whatever, got it off my chest, I set fire to it, and I'll just watch it, you know, flake kind of thing. And, you know, I've been told that's good as well for your mental health.
It absolutely is. Release it, burning, so writing things down, journaling, getting it all out, not even in your poetry, if you wanted to do it just as words, you know, just sentences, getting it all out in a journal, but then leaving it on the paper. And then when you're ready, like, a lot of people do it, it's quite symbolic to actually go somewhere and burn it and watch it go up into smoke. It's like the letting go of that emotion, that feeling. You sound so resilient. You've been through so much, and your resilience is so amazing.
Oh, she's brilliant.
Yeah, I mean, like, another way of me dealing with it, I went and got a tattoo that, like, my mum loved owls. So, like, I got, like, an owl I got a clock. I got the time she died. I got like mum written underneath. You know, and it was something personal. But what I want to do, I want to try and get a sleeve done that's like got all like bits of my mum in, and then obviously bits of my life and like my daughter's life. You know what I mean? And like I say, that costs money, and it's one of them. You know, we're in a crisis where, you know, you've got to weigh up, you know, what's more important, tattoo, food, or bills. You know what I mean? And it's one of them. But before I go, there is another poem I want to say to you, and it's a quick one. So this would have been done on the last few shows, but it was when the phone lines weren't working, Jay. You were having problems, if I remember.
Yeah,
but
we have technical problems sometimes. Yeah.
I'm just going to read this one quickly, and it's just called My Mental Health, and it goes like this. I don't know what works anymore, because all paths are the same, from fighting the darkness to understanding my brain. It's just a vicious circle when it lets itself in. I don't know when it's coming, I just feel when it hits. For it knocks me and shakes me until I pass out. It stands in the doorway admiring itself. For the repercussions are deadly and no one hears my cries for help. So I sit in the corner and I butcher myself. Arms full of blood, deep cuts to the scars. Broken by evil, I'm living behind bars. For this thing is a prison where it changes by day. 1 minute I'm up and the next I'm not okay. I'm angry and spiteful and just want to fight. I put my fist through the walls because I just want to escape from this hell. But then it just whispers, you're so damaged and broken you can't be repaired. But each time it visits, it knows that I'm scared. So I pop pills to forget and I drink to pass out. There's so many bottles, the shards make up for this word called mental health. It's dangerous to know that when I hit the bottom, I'm not getting up for nothing, so I lay there just crying. Embarrassing, I know, but I've got nothing left, for I'm the shadow that hides when I'm feeling depressed. I'm nothing to no one, so I just pray for my death, because at least I know once I'm gone, I don't have to deal with this mess. So thank you to itself for just walking right in, staying there till I'm down, watching me suffer its mean. So how do I change it? Because I'm done trying to talk. Going round in circles is when it walks out the door. Guess this is me, myself and I, and that thing from the dark. Mental health with my demons and they tore me apart. Left all the memories and moments and seen who I've lost. Watched me battled through abuse and just stood there and laughed.
Wow.
So, I'm going to leave it on that note. And I just want to say, you know, big shout out to you, Jay. You know,
we love you, Blue Shadow.
I
forgot to ring Steve as well today. I've been so busy,
Steve,
Blue Shadow. Tell him I'll ring him in the morning. I promise.
Yeah, well,
I've been
like
so
I
busy.
said, yeah, that's cool. Like I say, Steve, you know, Rich,
Nick. Don't forget Nick. Nick.
Yeah, can't forget Nick.
Nick's my duo. He's my blues brother, Joanne. Double trouble.
You know, you got every, like Sadie, you've got everyone that's like a part of this community. You've helped your guardian angel, and now you've got Joanne on board, and
brilliant.
Can't wait for the next one. And thanks for doing this. You know, we all need a bit of support here and now, and he's been at his best. He is a guardian angel, whether he knows it or not. So
I'll try my best. But that's what it's for. It's for this, you know, it's to get things off your chest, and you know, if it makes you feel better, and that's what it's all about.
It's lovely to you, honestly. You're amazing. Write a book.
Well, I'm going to try and get something sorted, and we'll go from there. But it's been nice talking to the pair of you, and
you,
as always, Jay, keep right on, mate, and catch you next time.
Yeah, definitely, Blue Shadow.
All right.
Take care, Blue Shadow.
Okay, Andrew, thank you very much. Good night.
Good night.
Good night. Good night.
Bye. Have we got time for one more call, Joanne, or are you in a rush to get off?
I've got about 5 minutes, if that's all right.
Yeah. No problem. So if anybody does want to... Oh, Tony.
Yeah.
Tone.
Hello, mate.
How you doing? You all right?
Yeah, I'm fine, mate.
This is talented Tony. Joanne.
Tony.
Hello, Joanne. I feel like a cheat. I'm probably feeling the best I've ever felt since I was a little kid and abused. I've had a turning point. I think I was explaining it the other night. I'm just feeling fantastic. So I feel like a bit of a cheat tonight.
No,
Not at all. What was the turning point for you, Tony? What's helped? Share your story.
Oh, it's too long to share that. I'm bloody 70. But now I woke up the other morning and my place is just ceilings and everything is just full of my art therapy paintings and the tracks, and I hide my stories in there. And anyway, I woke up and I just thought, some voice said to me, "You've been down these tracks so many times. They're looking at you tired now. It's time for the change." So I've sent 2 pictures in that I've done in the last couple of weeks.
Oh, have you? Have you emailed it in?
Yeah. And what I did is took them down, and like someone was chatting before about getting rid of, your past, I painted over them. I covered them all over. Yeah. I won't ever forget. And then I've done these 2 paintings on top, which is my new track now.
Can you see them, Joanne?
I'm sorry.
Wow. Yeah.
The camera is not very good.
Talent.
That one there, that's me and my 2 dogs. 2 dogs have gone now, but that's me and my dogs, how we coped out in the mountains, because I'm living in Wales now. And the best move I ever made. My dogs are always in the paintings. They're waiting for me to come and join them now. But
not for a while yet.
You ain't going anywhere, yes.
I was explaining the other day that this voice told me my life is 4 chapters. I'm on my 4th chapter, but the chapter could be 20, 30 years yet. But it's like, I've got a poem, but it's too long to read out tonight. It's to do with the paintings, but it's called The Turning Point. And I feel so absolutely relaxed. Nothing's phasing me. Everything I do, I'm just calm about.
Good tone.
And this just shows, doesn't it, about the change that we can make when we're in this hole and we all feel that this is how it's always going to be. This is what the brain tells us. And actually, there's always hope. There is changes that can be made, different chapters, new beginnings.
Yeah.
But you've come a long way as well, though, Tone.
Oh, now I've even formed a group now. There's 5 of us that come round here, and we just talk to one another about mental health and that. They love seeing my paintings, and I explain the stories in them. And I've got to credit Kevin and Stu for phoning in, and Stu, who does his art. I wanted to ask him, has he ever thought of not going in at 7:30 and being robotic about it, but just going in? Remember, I told you, Jay, I used to go in a room and just throw paint to the canvas.
Yeah.
And make a painting out of it, That's my art therapy. I learned it from American books, and it's just been fantastic, and I love teaching it. Not everyone likes it, but, my writing as well. I love my writing, and it's all stored away, and, when I'm gone, I suppose people will read it then.
No, I like listening to it now, Tone.
It's, I just love it, because I've been on my own for so long. That doesn't bother me. I don't know if I can explain to Joanne, and Jay knows it. If I was in trouble before, I called it, I go on my walkabout, I don't speak to anyone, I don't phone, I don't do nothing. I never carry a phone anyway.
Yeah.
I use it. I try not to be getting involved with phones or anything because I don't want it ruining. I want to feel like I am now all the time.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense.
It does make sense. So you're monitoring and protecting yourself from things that you know might trigger, which is really, really healthy. It's such a healthy habit performing. If we know what can cause us distress or triggers or make us feel overwhelmed, literally cutting as much of that out as we can it's just protection. It's self-care.
Yeah. Well, I think of myself now more of helping other people because I've seen that many counsellors and it just didn't click. And then I've told this story before. There's one girl that come in from Mind, and she was a Polish girl in this Welsh village, and we just clicked. And she said to me, "I've heard you're an artist. Well, when you come in next time, I'll bring some pens in. You bring your paints in. If you can't talk, paint it." And that started me on art therapy, and I studied it and bought books, and I joined an art class for alcoholics. I wasn't alcoholic, but they said that I was taking that many tablets. It was more like suicidal than anything.
Okay.
Like within weeks, the art person left, and that's, "You want to take it?" I said, "Yeah, but I want to do it my way," and that's when I started Art of Recovery. That's my thing. Started doing that, and I absolutely love it. I love it.
Are you making a difference?
To wake up every day and I can look at hundreds of paintings and decide which track I want to go down, and the reminders.
Yeah.
And I have to remind. This might sound silly to some people, but only every morning I come to the kitchen, and if I'm feeling down, when I was a kid being abused, no one knew that I actually fought on Andy, and I used to get sent to Birmingham, the other side of the way, and pretend I didn't want to go, but I absolutely loved it there. And one day, in the kitchen, she said, "You want something to eat?" And she taught me how to poach eggs from toast with salt on. So to this day, I poach a couple of eggs, have my toast, and talk to my nan.
Yeah.
And that's 65 years ago, but I still fit. It might be to people, but it isn't.
Yeah.
I'm boring you.
No, you're not.
You're not boring. No, not at all. It's lovely to hear a success story. That's what's important, and what that does is give people who aren't feeling that way at the moment, it gives them hope, doesn't it? Things can change, things can get better.
Yeah. And what was said earlier, it's that point when you talk. I was the worst one for talking, although I'm rattling on now. But talking about it, I wouldn't tell anyone because it's a bad abuse. And then it was like out of the fire and into another one, because I joined the army and I was in Northern Ireland in 1969. Saw some horrific stuff. So it was just one big melting pot. But it never really affected me for about 15, 20 years. And then it hit. And I realised, I've lost my kids. I've gone to Cornwall with my ex. I've never seen them. But I've virtually told them to go because I just couldn't cope with it. I couldn't relay with them. It was just, I don't know. It's just the way it happened. But I feel really blessed. I really do feel blessed. And in a way, not glad I've gone through it, but I'm happy to have gone through it and to find it now. And I still know these devils will come back, but I have ways now of destroying them,
You've got good coping mechanisms.
I've said before, on a bad day, I used to go in the bedroom and paint the devils just roughly and what was wrong, and then I just painted it and covered them. So I I feel I'm on top of it, and then I'm on top of it, and that's how I give it.
You've done really well, Tony. It sounds like you know your coping mechanisms as well. You know what helps you feel better. You know, so when these things happen, or life happens, or our thoughts start, you know what to put in place to help.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
So,
really know yourself.
I am loving life at the moment. Retired.
Good time.
I'm golfing, and God knows what.
What are they like at the? What are they like at the golf with you, Town? The Wrexham fans.
Oh well, I've trained them now, haven't I?
Trained.
One thing I do, and I praise myself for it now because I never used to. I speak my mind, and I tell people what I think. If they don't like it, tough. It's not my business, is it? And I put my foot in it half the time, but I don't really care anymore. I don't care if people don't like my painting. I don't do my paintings for people to like them.
Yeah.
It's your therapy.
Yeah. And they're right. I mean, can I read this one out? Because I think it might help some people on here.
Yeah.
Yeah, read it away.
Some of it doesn't rhyme, but I think I've had Shakespeare shut up my backside because I'm not just rhyming now. There's a bit of rhyme. But it's for that painting I'm sitting with the dogs, and it's called Turning Point. You've got to imagine it's in Wales. As the sun sprays down upon the mountains, amongst reds and the yellows and purple heathers that engulf the slate grey rocks, randomly formed and standing proudly and tall, the gatekeepers to our wonderful garden that God blessed us with, dragging behind the chaos of a former life, desperately trying to cling on and claim its free ride even longer. The struggle to detone and break free have taken a toll on my aging body, but not as much as my frail and desperate mind, as it strives over many years to free itself from the lingering concerns, cancerous tenant that have inhabited my head. But this morning is different from the usual hard slog, raising my body out of bed as I looked at my therapy paintings strewn across my ceiling, and they look different today. Or was it just my mind thinking different? They have been my companion for some years and now have taken me on means of escape. But they look still and no motion. They tired and seem to be begging me to move on. Tears drain from my eyes as I remember the message they gave me were pat weep. But God was telling me that me and your journey, Sue and Emma, parted and booked. And he would continue. Spoken later.
I think you're breaking up, Tone.
Buddy?
I think you're breaking up.
Am I?
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Say it again, Tone.
Did you hear most of it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's only the last few sentences. I couldn't hear.
Right. Tears. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Tears drain from my eyes. I remember the memories that they gave me and the tracks we pounded. But God was telling me that me and your friends have reached the end of the journey. Blue and Emma had departed and boarded that flight to God's heaven. But my journey would continue. A broken heart or two later, faithful paintings were covered with 2 coats of acrylic and new paths were planted with free-flowing strokes on the surface. I will never leave behind the old. They are safely tucked away and camouflaged. And by the new fresh music was searched and downloaded. It was easy having God's hand guiding me. I found a new energy and a spring in a step, realising another battle had been won in this lifelong. What I'll do up to the end, because it's quite long, but the end is quite positive, I think.
Yeah.
I have put strength to use, and if evicted every excuse. No more nightmares of abuse. Enjoying my freedom days, I can paint, I can play, and brush my devils away. My fear of myself is done, embracing the victory I've won, and stand naked under God's sun. How I hear you say, how can you be so confident about victory? How I hear you say, can you those devils be beaten? And what if they return? Well, I say to you, as a soldier can feel when the war is near ending. A winning soldier can reflect and know with confidence that at hard times that the tactics were right and the path has been laid to eventual victory. But more than anything, if you are folded into the arms of God and feel that trusted belief on show every day, knowing there is an incredible universe which He made, and embrace the sun to guide you, there are many, many ways of being positive. There are many roads, many paths to take, and you will make mistakes, but it's up to you to find your track. God bless you all.
Brilliant, Town.
Oh, that's lovely.
Brilliant, Town.
Do you know what I'm finding absolutely overwhelming and surprising? And like, are all you blues fans creative? Is it just something like, what on earth? The amount of talent here with like poetry and art and everything I'm seeing and hearing. Is it a blues fan trait to just be creative?
Yes. Joanne,
I need to support the blues because I've not got a creative bone in my body.
Come down, Joanne, you're lucky.
I can explain that. Blues fans have had so much crap over the years. Yeah. They have to find something to do to be creative.
Yeah.
That's the answer then, Tone.
Thanks to Jay and Nick and this show, yourself. I can't explain how it's helped me. I have explained to Jay. It was like I could be out, and then I knew it was something positive to look forward to the night when I used to phone in. I mean, I'm usually like writing funny poetry, but it has helped me so much. And the people on here, just keep listening. Get that strength up. Phone in. Once you've phoned in and speak, something will leave your body and you'll think, I want to do that again. That's my attitude to life.
100%, Town.
Yeah. I love you all.
We love you too, Town.
I've got to thank Jay, and I keep reminding people in his morning. He actually got me to go to a match in Shrewsbury, and it was another turning point in my life because at that time I was pretty ill and didn't want to go out. I ended up having arguments in Shrewsbury because I couldn't find a bloody way. What a day. And to meet him in person and Nick and his family. And I suppose that was another turning point in my life. And that's what you got to do. Get out, be positive, talk.
Yeah, definitely, Town.
No
we
negative.
Love you, Town. We love you, mate.
I love you all.
We love you too.
And all these people on the chat. Blue Shadow, brilliant poem again. Oh, God. It's just right. It's right. So talented, isn't it? So, I'll wish you a good night. And Joanne, there's one lucky thing. I'm usually the Tourette's bloke.
He's usually effing and blinding.
I've been ever so good tonight.
He's on his best behaviour, Joanne, for you.
Oh, yeah, that's good to hear.
You know why that? Because I've got you.
What was that time? What did you say? I missed that.
I couldn't give a fuck, that's why.
You take care of yourself.
And you. Brilliant, mate. Good night.
Thanks, mate.
Bye. Bye, Tone.
Well, we've hit the 2-hour mark, Joanne. Thank you so much for tonight.
That's all right. You're very, very welcome. Thank you to you, and thank you to everybody that's been in touch. You know, you're all so amazing and creative, obviously.
I told you you'd enjoy it, didn't I?
Yeah, you did. Everybody's so amazing. Thank you.
Is it what you thought like it would be, or
Well, we were talking about anxiety, and I was full of anxiety doing the podcast to start with before I did it, because it's something new, it's unfamiliar. I've never put myself out there. I'm just on a one-to-one in a room. So I was having severe anxiety before I came on. And then as soon as we all got talking, it's been fine because everyone is so lovely.
And you've been on over 2 hours. And I mean, how quick's that gone?
Yeah, it's gone really quick, really. Well, I'm now sat in the dark, so that just shows what.
Well, now,
it's dark.
honestly, you know, this is every month, and thank you, Joanne, for doing this with me. You know, it's nice to have somebody that's qualified and can give the best advice as well. And I can't thank you enough for being part of this. And to everybody that's been talking on the comments as well. I can't thank you enough for your support, but also, you know, this ain't going anywhere. It's every month, so please don't suffer. If you can't talk on here, then please talk to somebody, whether it be a friend or a family member, or seek some help. And Joanne's details are under the video if you do want to reach out and ask for some advice off Joanne as well. But yeah, thank you all for watching, and please hit the subscribe button as well. Yeah, it's massive. But yeah, thank you so much, Joanne.
You're very welcome. You take care, Jay. Thanks for having me on.
No problem. Thank you. See you later, guys.
Bye.